Hello guys, it's KJHULK here, making a video for the ML community channel. I'm calling this the Marvel Legends series showcase, kind of a takeoff of my Build-A-Figure showcase. Basically it's just going to be complete series of Marvel Legends. Today we'll be looking at the Toybiz Series 1, which includes the Incredible Hulk, Iron Man, Toad, and a Captain America. You can see it's a four-figure series, and I have all four. Of course, there are two variants to the Iron Man, and there is also a Hulk with the articulated hands. As you see, mine has the straight finger hands. We'll look at these as a whole, and then I'll take a little bit of time to look at each figure individually. Alright, before we get started looking at the figures individually, we'll take a quick peek at the card backing for Series 1. This was actually the one from Toad, but they all have this same collect them all pictures of each of the figures. As you see, start out with Captain America over here on the left. He comes with a base, and that's the comic he come with. Second, the Hulk with his comic and base as well. If you notice, this is actually the articulated finger Hulk that was available. And next you see Iron Man with his comic and base, and then finally Toad with his comic and base. Now we'll move on and take a look at all the figures on an individual basis. Okay, we'll start off with the Hulk figure first, which as far as I can tell, which is probably the least expensive and easiest to find. Of course, that's up to different interpretation if you're going by eBay or whatnot. Anyway, a very well detailed figure, a lot of good face detail, a lot of good body detail. Articulation somewhat lacking. Not going to do a real review on this figure. Like I said, for those you need to look at the other reviewers to get a review on him, but overall I'd say a solid B on this figure. A lot of good detail. My major problem with this figure is the feet are a little undersized. Makes him hard to stand up just sometimes if you get one that has some looser hip joints or something like that. But overall, a good interpretation and great first effort for Toybiz on the Marvel Legends, and definitely a good pick for a Series 1 of a line called Marvel Legends. One of your staple powerhouses is, of course, the Incredible Hulk from Marvel. Next, we'll go with the Captain America from this series. A very good representation of Captain America, I believe. Kind of a little small, I think, as far as like upper torso goes. Waist, definitely. Really not too bad. He offers probably the one of the better posabilities of this series. Excuse me. One major problem with this figure is that, of course, the legs, hips, and knees and ankles become increasingly loose over time. This one that I have, actually, this is about the third one of these that I've had. Every one of them has had the same problems with just the joints giving out a little way. A problem that happens with Toybiz Marvel Legends over time. They did kind of work on that a little bit later in some of the later series, is trying to get them to stay pretty tight. But anyway, Captain America Series 1, very good Captain America. He goes in quite well if you're doing an original Avengers setup with it's from episode 4, issue 4 of the Avengers when Captain America joined. A pretty accurate costume to that era. Alright, next we have the Series 1 Iron Man in the classic yellow or gold and red. Basically, this is just one of the best, if not the best, interpretations of Iron Man in this classic costume. Notice the posability. Look at that perfect repulsor blast from both hands. You'll be hard pressed to find this and being able to get this pose in any of the other Iron Man figures that are out there. Great paint job, of course, nothing that you wouldn't expect from Toybiz. Posability is good. They use this mold quite regularly. This is actually the first mold was Iron Man, but if the Series 3 Magneto has this body mold, And of course later on Silver Centurion, Iron Man, and War Machine uses the same mold as well. Classic, great representation once again of Iron Man in this costume. Must have, of course, we know about the two variants. The gold variant, in which all the yellow is actually painted a good metallic gold, and the mask is different, has the little points that come up on the top. And then of course the blue stealth variant as well. Same figures all around except for the paint schemes, and of course on the gold variant has the point spikes that come up on the mask. Must have for an Iron Man fan. Again, goes along good with the classic Avengers setup for the time frame, for the early time frames when Iron Man was wearing this costume. Alright, and lastly from Series 1 is the Toad figure, which is a good looking figure just as far as looking at, but if you're looking for posability, definitely not. No knee joints, no elbow joints, shoulder joints, hip joint, rotates at the wrist and at the ankles. But other than that, this is pretty much about the only pose you can get him in as far as standing up. The toad in his hand does not come out. He does have a good bit of detail for the classic Toad look, with the kind of tattered suture marks, sewing marks all throughout his costume. Sorry, my camera, this webcam isn't much good. I can't zoom in as far as the detail goes. Again, like I said, this isn't. I'm not really doing a full review over these figures. Just basically, for some, when this figure came out, a lot of people were like, "Why did Toad become a Series 1? If you're calling this series Marvel Legends, I don't think there's plenty of other X-Men. Obviously, Wolverine comes to mind, Professor Xavier, Cyclops, any of the original first X-Men in the original costumes." But no, they went with Toad, probably the least powerful of the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants from the original X-Men #1. I think a lot of people passed on him when he was out, and then come to realize later this thing was, apparently they didn't make quite as many as they thought, and became quite scarce and quite expensive. You can pay for about, I've seen them anywhere from $60 to on up to $80 for a mint on card on eBay, and I've seen them in comic shops for $60 mint on card. Do I think he's worth that? No, but to a collector, you know, you can never put a price on anything for a collector. But if you can get your hands on him for a decent price, he does go along good with, if you have a X-Men setup or a Brotherhood setup. Definitely a must-have, just if you're a die-hard collector. If you're not, and then you can pass on him. You can definitely do without him as far as for the price is. But if you can find him for a right price, or was able to get him originally at retail, then good for you. I managed to get this one for a pretty good price. That's why I have him. Anyway, good figure. Zero posability though, more akin to a Marvel Select figure than, of course, a Marvel Legends. But this is probably one of the most articulated Marvel Legends. Alright, there you have it. Rundown of Toy Biz Series 1 from the Marvel Legends line. 4 figures: Hulk, Iron Man, Toad, and Captain America. Hope this was able to answer a few questions, and I look forward to other members posting their series showcases. Just get in touch with the ML community via message, and tell them that you have a complete series and you want to do a showcase on it. See if we can get it posted on there. Alright, KJ Hulk, thanks.